Alright, let me talk to you real quick about Rexius Nutrition in Ralston. Rexius carries an awesome line of pre-workout from brands like Alpha Lion, Bucked Up, 5150, Insane Labs, and several other brands. They also have a great selection of protein powder, including my personal favorite, the All Max Hexapro cookies and cream flavored. Can't go wrong with that. They also carry the very popular brand Accent Sledge protein powders, branched chain amino acids, which are crucial to stay hydrated, and pre-workout. They also carry locally owned brands like VHI Fit. They carry their protein powders in several different flavors. They also have pre-workout, branched chain amino acids, vegan protein powder as well. And if you have a sweet tooth like me, you gotta try this Omaha protein popcorn. The owners Jamie and Brent Stryker are absolute studs and are very knowledgeable with a background in bodybuilding. Jamie even reached pro status as an IFBB pro women's physique competitor. Stop by Rexius Nutrition in Ralston on the corner of 84th and Q and receive 10% off when you tell them you're there on an official visit. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am Prep Redzone, Nebraska's Oscar Galindo, here with another episode of the official visit. Today we've got a very special episode for you today, as we'll be covering our Prep Redzone Stock Up Showcase that happened last Sunday. I'll be talking about what happens at a showcase, which position groups and players I thought stood out the most, and I'll talk about some housekeeping items as well. Alright, and then another quick thing I want to touch on towards the end of the episode is I did do an interview after the showcase with Omaha Nation's Coach Hudnall. Coach Hudnall and his guys, they basically brought their whole team. I believe that he said that they registered 15 players and were able to get 10 of them out there on the showcase day. So, just hearing why he kind of thought it was a good idea and what kind of value he saw as a coach in bringing his kids out to the showcase, and kind of just seeing what he saw within his players and what he kind of learned from his players throughout the day. It was a very interesting interview. Great coach. They had a very successful season, and just kind of seeing the things that he's he's trying to do to continue that success and making sure he's putting his guys in the best position to succeed is really cool to see. And just sign a great coach with good understanding of what he needs to do to get better, while also providing opportunities for his students to maybe get in front of some college coaches and get a little bit more representation out there, more eyes out there. The small schools sometimes struggle to get a little bit more recruiting attention. So it was great talking to him and seeing his guys out there competing and learning. Very young group of guys. I'm excited to keep seeing them at future events and kind of seeing how they continue to grow. So, we'll see that towards the end. Our interview with Coach Hudnall from Omaha Nation. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you guys enjoy the episode. First off, I want to start off by thanking and congratulating the winner of our state championship pick'em. If you aren't aware, we here at the official visit and our sponsor Rexius Nutrition in Ralston, we put together a contest where you were supposed to guess all 7 state champions in the state championship games, and then there was like a tiebreaker in case there was multiple people. Rexius Nutrition, they put together a nice little prize pack with some pre-workout, some protein popcorn, gift card, and then just a couple other goodies in there. Really nice box. And we actually had 2 people guess all 7 games correctly, but in the end, our guy Claude from Plattsmouth ended up the eventual winner, with the closest score projection for the Class A game. So shout out to Claude for winning the state championship pick'em, and thank you again to our sponsor Rexius Nutrition in Ralston. Remember, if you go to their location there in Ralston, you do get 10% off your purchase. So make sure you mention the official visit and enjoy a nice little discount on all your supplement needs. So, alright, so next up, what I wanted to talk about was our Prep Redzone Showcase. Stock Up Showcase is the one we have here in the winter, and then we'll have a prospect tour in April or May. So If you didn't make it out to this weekend's showcase, you still have another opportunity in the spring, so don't worry too much about it. But basically, I want to talk about what kind of goes on in the showcase, what I saw from it, what were my takes from it this year. Every year is always different. There's always new kids, a bunch of freshmen and underclassmen that are looking to kind of, improve their game. And then there's always, seniors and juniors that are hoping to go out there and maybe make an impression on some coaches. So this year we had, I believe, the final sign-up was like 120, but I think there was quite a few people that couldn't make it in the end. So around that 100 mark of total kids, so still a great turnout. We had a ton of great, how should I say, receivers, ton of great O-line and D-line. The quarterbacks were, slinging it. So, a great group of kids overall. A ton of talent, from both Nebraska and Iowa. Had some South Dakota kids sprinkled in there as well. So, basically what the showcase is just, like I mentioned, everyone kind of does it for a little bit of a different reasons, maybe. Ranking or recruiting is a big one. It's college coaches giving instruction on every drill. So, when you break up into your position drills, it's a college coach, from a local school or wherever it may be. And, they also probably have experience in other schools at different levels of, collegiate football. So it's always really cool to, be, how should I say, take instruction from those college coaches, because they're seeing it firsthand, and if you are able to make an impression and do well and stand out, that definitely leads to further opportunities down the road. So that's the big part. Another reason why I touched on it, or why people go to these showcases, is just kind of improve technique, footwork, maybe kind of see where they stand in terms of like their 40 time and testing and all that kind of stuff. Maybe kind of just stay a little bit in football mode in the off season for some kids. So, plenty of reasons to come out to one. I don't think there's, or I can't speak for everybody, but I feel like there's, it's very tough to come into one of these and not leave at least 1% better, as the saying goes, leaving just a tiny bit better after receiving coaching and competing with other great talent from all these states. So definitely something I would say take an opportunity, or take full advantage of that opportunity if you get a chance to do so. So basically what you'll see there is, you'll come in, you'll register, you get your shirt, they'll give you your number. That's kind of just how the quickest, easiest way to identify you at the showcase. And then they'll split you up either by just 1 through 25, or I don't know how they did it this year, but you'll go into testing combine, the testing combine, where you'll do a 40-yard dash, you'll do the L drill, shuttle drill, and then broad jump. Just kind of test, your speed, your explosiveness, your agility, change of direction, all those kind of things that you want to see in an athlete. So I do believe it's kind of important to leading up to it, maybe kind of obviously not go like into full workout mode or anything, but like trying to stay loose and not come into this so without kind of having done some physical activity in at least a week or so. So from there you do all the testing, you do 2 reps in each test, and then we'll take note of that, and that eventually gets sent out to coaches. Sometimes coaching staffs this year, a lot of staffs had official visits on the Sunday that we had it, so they couldn't make it out, but they did still sign up for testing results and stuff like that. So even if they're not there, they're still kind of keeping an eye on all the kids that show up, and building up their potential recruits and target boards and stuff like that. So you do the testing. Then from there you might get a quick water break, and then we'll split you up into position groups. Those position groups, you just run drills for the first part of it, for the first maybe 30 minutes. I'm not exactly sure. You're talking to the coaches. They're making you run just technique drills. Running backs are probably doing cuts, Um, Defensive backs, you're working on some back pedal stuff, some angle works. Linebackers, same thing, working on angles. Um, yeah, just stuff like that. Kind of see how you look within your position. Then these kind of do a little bit of soft, not full contact competition. So they did like or wide receivers and defensive backs got put together and they kind of did like a little release drill. So receivers would try to get a clean release off of the defensive backs, and obviously defensive backs trying to be physical and stuff like that. So run those drills, and then towards the end, that's where we have one-on-one competition. That's where things start to get heating up a little bit, not in like sense of like fighting or anything, just competition. These are competitive kids, so a lot of being physical, getting no easy receptions, nothing like that. So yeah, it's always great to see the competition, and seeing which players kind of have that super competitive edge. It's really cool to see. So and then the whole time they're doing this, coaches are obviously taking note of which ones are kind of getting the best reps or winning the most. So they keep those players in mind, and then towards the end they do a king of like O-line, D-line is like king of the hill, and then like top 5 DBs, top 5 running back or receivers, and 5 linebackers covering 5 running backs. So that's kind of like the rundown of the showcase. It it goes by quick, but I feel like there's still a lot of there's a lot of learning that still is able to happen there with such great coaches out there. So all right, and then with the showcase comes as much coverage as myself and whoever else is there can do. This go around is just myself and Dave. So we've been at it all week trying to get content out on Prep Redzone for you guys. One of the things we do or some of the things we do in terms of coverage for the event is we always do an all camp team. So that's still on the way. Still kind of looking at some final stats and stuff like that for the all camp team. We do workout warriors, so the top 5 in each position, in each drill. And then Dave's doing his standouts, quarterbacks. Basically every position he's doing his standouts articles, and then so I'm doing the standouts as well. Not as organized as him, just kind of throwing 4 or 5 players at a time that I thought did a great job. But one thing we don't do is we give out like a position, or we do position MVPs to a singular player at the event. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to give MVP to a position group that I thought was overall showed the most talent and probably made the most plays, and I'll kind of group them together: the wide receivers and the tight ends. I thought the group of pass catchers that we had at the event was probably the best we've seen in all the showcases I've been to. Prep Redzone showcases that I've been to. So yeah, just a ton of talent, both older guys, younger guys. The tight ends, all did a great job as well. That's what I'm saying. I'm kind of grouping them all together with the receivers, but the defensive backs, I feel like were a close second. It was just a way smaller group of defensive backs, so just off pure numbers, I got to give it to the receivers. But a ton of great defensive backs, don't get me wrong. But yeah, the receivers, some of the standouts I saw in that group that I'll kind of just mention here just quickly. Corey Faulkner, he's a freshman from North Bend Central, but he's transferred over to Archbishop Bergen, so we'll be seeing him play for the Knights next year. Stud, man. Explosive, runs good routes, strong hands, knows how to get open, all that kind of stuff. He's physical, he's aggressive. Yeah, stud. He's a player that we wrote about after we released the 2027 watch list, and he's one that I watch the tape and it's like, wow, this kid can go. And watching him at the showcase, he continued to further drive that. So Corey Faulkner is going to be one to watch. Pierce McCrary from Cedar Rapids Kennedy, I thought did a phenomenal job there, kind of showing now he's bigger, taller receiver, lengthy, but he still moves very smooth. Like, he doesn't move like some like big receivers who are kind of maybe a little bit tougher to change direction. He changed direction very well. Great burst out of his change of direction. His hands are automatic. Does a very good job. Caught basically everything coming his way. Yeah, watch his tape and you kind of see the same thing. He's a player that can kind of attack all levels of the field. He can, take a quick, short to intermediate route and like a slant or something, and just pick up a ton of yardage on top of that. Or he has deceptive speed to kind of take the top off the defense, stretch the field vertically. So he's a player that I think is going to be probably drawing up a lot of attention here in the upcoming months as he heads into his senior, or the off season before his senior year. So Pierce McCrary from Cedar Rapids Kennedy is going to be one to watch. Next up, I got the youngins out of Bellevue, and that's both Bellevue East and West. Elon Washington out of Bellevue East, and then Bellevue West had a couple youngsters out there, Ashton Larson. Yeah, smaller receivers, but man, they are just twitchy. They're just super shifty. Elon has been there a couple times now. He's just incredible to watch. Like, some of the fastest feet I've ever seen. Does a great job getting open. He can attack. He could use like a defensive back's leverage against him to create space, all that kind of stuff. He's just a machine. And it's like I said, he's a smaller receiver, but he's just electric, man. And same thing with Ashton Larson from Bellevue West and Justin, man. Ashton, I kind of seen a little bit more at the, what was it called? Coach Williams, Coach Dove's showcase. I can't remember any elite. What's the official name of this showcase? Why can't I remember it? But anyways, he was there for Coach Dove's wide receiver camp, and yeah, man, he really impressed me there, just with his twitchiness and just some of the most crisp routes you'll see, especially out of a young guy like him who's only a freshman. And yeah, he continued to do the same thing out on Sunday, just torching DBs and doing everything he can to like get open and just running some insane routes. So shout out to him. Yeah, look, I mean, those are just a few of the guys that were there. Like, just the depth of the players that were there is insane. You had guys like Kel Sheets from Archbishop Bergen, Joey Benjamin from UTAN, a senior who I think should probably have a few more offers. Great athlete. I don't know if he did any reps at defensive back, but he definitely has potential to play defensive back at the next level. It looks solid at receiver, for sure. But yeah, definitely can play either side of the ball at the next level. The tight ends were incredible. Hayden Mosser, he was, bigger body, deep tight end. Did a great job. Just being physical and making some great hands catches. Levi Sherman, tight end from Lincoln Northeast, balled out. Had some of the most insane catches I'd seen at the event. Every time I looked over, he was doing something. Catching a ball off balance or with the defender on him or whatever it may be. He was just balling out. So, Levi Sherman, Gabe Gwinnett, Jr. from Sutton. First time getting a look at him, he looked really good as well. Especially for 8-man receivers, sometimes you kind of maybe need a little bit more polish in some situations. A lot of those teams are very run dominant, but Gabe came out and he looked sharp all day. So shout out to Gabe. Glad he was able to come out. Lewis Wellstead, another guy I've seen from Nebraska Red Wolves. He's a stud too. So just a ton of great players that in that position group. The depth in the building was just incredible to watch or see, and a lot of those guys did kind of switch over to some defensive back and kind of ran reps both ways. So just those skill position guys, the receivers and the defensive backs were were really great. You know, a lot of good battles in that group, and when it came to one-on-one. So, yeah, receivers, you guys get my position group MVP from this Stock Up Showcase. All right, so then now, you know, last but definitely not least is, you know, we got the interview here with Coach Hudnall. Like I said, talking about Omaha Nation and bringing his guys out, making sure they had, you know, opportunity to improve and kind of work on their craft a little bit more, especially coming off of a big season for them. You know, he really wanted to make sure to continue that momentum and kind of were able to be aware of the opportunities they have in front of them for, you know, in the sport of football. So, you know, had some great kids out there. Rylan Grant was a senior that really caught my eye. You know, he looked good as a receiver, very good athlete for them. So, yeah, you know, I was glad to see them make it out there and, you know, and having a good time. So, here's Coach Hudnall and his interview.
All right, I'm here with Coach Hudnall of Omaha Nation Football. Made the drive down here. Hopefully, it wasn't too bad of a drive for you.
No, just a little over an hour.
Yeah, there you go. You know, brought a good chunk of your team, if not all of it, correct?
We had 15 registered, and we got 10 down here this morning. So nice. We had 23 guys this year. So
excellent. So, you know, obviously that's the biggest team showing by any team out here. What kind of went behind that decision to make sure you got your guys, you know, signed up for this, or what kind of value did you see in making sure, you know, your players got out here and competed today?
Yeah, well, this year for us was a really good season, and so one of the things I wanted to do was make sure I took the time out to try to help my kids any way they could to continue, hopefully, with their academic and athletic career if they have the opportunity to do that at some point in time in the next couple of years. We have some really good seniors this season that I really think have a chance to go play some college football if they take the opportunity to do that. And so what I wanted to do was just get them exposed to what it takes to take that next step. And I think this was a great opportunity for them. So.
Yeah. Is there anything specifically, say maybe like player attribute-wise, like, you know, speed, stuff like that? Any stuff like that that you were hoping maybe you kind of learn a little bit more on or improve on, or anything like that that you're hoping to kind of gain?
I would say what I was hoping for them to take away from this would be toughness. You know, especially with the offensive and defensive line drills, there was some real toughness that you have to compete at that level and in that position. From everybody else, I just wanted them to take away that, you know, we've got college coaches here that treat them the same no matter where they're from. You know, and that's one of the big things for me is, you know, I chose the job I chose not because it's pays better or, you know, it's in a great spot. I chose it because they're good kids. And it doesn't matter if you're from Omaha or from Macy or from South Dakota. All these coaches that come to run these drills for these recruiting showcases are going to treat you the same way. If you're not working hard, if you're not hustling hard, they're going to get after you. If you're doing a great job, they're going to congratulate you, pat you on the back. No matter if you fall or have to get back up, they're going to say, keep working hard. And that's the thing I wanted them to take away from this, was that, you know, that's the way it works. That's, you know, you got to be mentally tough, you got to be physically tough, and you got to be ready to keep working.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So then, you know, from there, you know, another aspect of this, you know, aside from the football stuff, is, like you mentioned, the recruiting stuff.
Yeah.
Sure. These players' names get out there. How difficult is it, you know, coming from, you know, a smaller school, not just from the Midwest, but a small school in the Midwest, to kind of get those names out? And how do you think this helps those players?
Well, one of the biggest obstacles that we have there in Macy is that a lot of people don't know that it exists outside of that little area up there. You know, unless you're from there or from one of the surrounding towns, we kind of get overlooked by everyone. Another issue we've got is that a lot of us there in Macy, a lot of the kids, they want to be basketball stars. And we've got a lot of football players that want to be basketball stars. And so one of the things that I hope this does is show them that they can compete with football players and be football players. I think they could play, like I said, I think I have a couple that could play football at the next level. And I'm not trying to say they can't play basketball, but there's more opportunities, I think, playing football than that they realize. And so by doing this, not only do they get the exposure and they get to kind of compete against other high school kids, but they get to see what it's going to take for them to get better. And so that's kind of what I'm hoping to have them do is get the exposure, get their names out there, have people talk to them, understand where they come from, you know, who they are, and then hopefully see some value, like I do, in them and who they are as people, and have them have an opportunity at the next stage, which is, college academics and college athletics. And so that's kind of the goal of what we did, that we hope to achieve by bringing them down here. So.
All right, and then one of the last ones here. So kind of just moving forward, after what you and the team learned here today, and how you guys improved. How do you kind of keep that momentum going and making sure these guys stay locked in and really buy in this offseason to continue that success that you guys had?
Yeah, I'd say one of the best opportunities that we can keep the momentum going is just, if you're not out for basketball, let's get you in the weight room. That's another thing we struggle with. Nobody wants to lift weights because they think they'll get too strong for basketball. So basketball players lift weights too, but if you're not out for basketball and you're not out for another sport, you should be in that weight room. And one thing that's been really tough is to get the buy-in at the adult level to come help and do some stuff in the spring with football. Everybody kind of thinks that springtime isn't for football, but we're going to try to do some of that stuff this year. I think there's some really good opportunities for us to build on what we accomplished this season. Use what we did in the camps this summer, use the success we had in the football season this year to keep building and keep going up instead of staying stagnant. And so I hope that when we come back and talk about this as a group, about what they saw, about what they learned, about how things went, they can say, well, I want to come back next year, I want to do better. I want to come back next year, I want to practice this over the summer or the spring, so I can come back next year to the same thing and do a better job. Kind of self-motivate, self-intrinsically as well. But there's a lot of things that we can take from here to help keep the motivation going, because I had kids that said, if we would have been stronger this year, we would have won more games this season. I mean, we can see it out here in this showcase. We're not strong enough. We're not strong enough. That's what a couple of my guys said. And so I hope that kind of motivates us to get in the weight room, like I had said earlier. But we'll see. It's a long, dead period of winter time. So we'll keep it going the best we can, and we'll just keep trying to give these kids an avenue for success in their personal lives and academically and athletically. So.
Absolutely. All right, and then last one here is kind of a fun one. Favorite sports movie of all time?
Oh, I was just thinking about this the other day. Favorite sports movie of all time, it would have to be either Rudy or Hoosiers.
Okay.
I loved Rudy as a kid growing up. I kind of gravitated towards that, being the overlooked kid. And so that story resonates with me. And then Hoosiers, obviously, you've got, like I said, we got to work harder than everybody else. We're just, I think that's a small school, maybe not as athletic as some, but if you work hard and you're focused and you're disciplined, you can do a lot of great things. So those two movies show that, and I think they're great. So those are my two favorites, I would say.
Excellent question.
Out there from Coach Hudnall, and kind of really see how important it is him to provide these opportunities for him. So again, glad to see him out there, and hope to see them out there at future showcases. So shout out to them, and good luck to them the rest of the way. Now, I do think that's all I got for you guys. I want to keep this episode short and sweet. Just wanted to talk a little bit more about the Prep Redzone showcase, and kind of talk about what it is and what I saw, the position groups that like I said, I thought really popped off at the event, and just kind of share the story of Coach Hudnall and Omaha Nation team making it out and competing. So. Keep an eye out on Prep Redzone for more content in terms of like player analysis and the all camp team and workout warriors and stuff like that, to keep if you want to kind of see who really balled out, who's posting the fastest 40s, all that kind of stuff. So again, I thank you guys for tuning in. Subscribe, give us a like, comment, let us know if you'll be at our next showcase. And appreciate it.